Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends, to week number 2 of Gaming Nest News, bringing you all the information you need to go about your week here in the gaming world. My name is Joker, once again, bringing you the news here this week, and we've got another wide spread of information coming at you this week. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about the League of Legends changes here in North America for their amateur and academy scene. The League of Legends North American professional and amateur scenes have received a major overhaul going into the 2021 spring split. The Academy system, which was previously run as a full-fledged feeder system into the LCS with its own schedule and playoffs, has now been joined up with the North American amateur scene, which has seen a massive boost in popularity thanks to organizations like Upsurge, Challengers Uprising, and Risen Esports running some fantastic tournaments, as well as the Scouting Ground Circuits playoffs, which showcase the top amateur teams facing off for their chance to prove themselves at the Scouting Grounds. Academy teams themselves are run by LCS teams, and those LCS teams can swap players around as needed based off of performance. So the two have now been combined, where multiple tournaments will be hosted throughout January, February, and March to find the best 16 teams in Academy and Amateur and pit them in one final tournament in the spring to find the best North American team outside of the LCS. Academy teams will compete in a shortened Academy season during January and February, where the top 6 teams from the season will auto-qualify into the LCS Proving Grounds at the end of March. Meanwhile, Tier 2 tournaments will be held concurrently during the Academy season, where upwards of 10 teams will qualify into the first full-fledged Tier 1 tournament at the end of February. The 7th and 8th place Academy teams will also qualify for that Tier 1 tournament. The top 4 teams from that tournament qualify to the LCS Proving Grounds. The 8 teams that did not qualify will move on to the second Tier 1 tournament in early March, where the top 4 teams will qualify into the LCS Proving Grounds once again. The 8 teams that failed there will move on to the last chance qualifier, where 2 final teams will fill out the 16-team roster for the LCS Proving Grounds. This is a massive overhaul to the amateur scene here in North America, where previously there was no interaction between Academy and Amateur, outside of occasional player pickups and trades. Many times, rosters from Amateur could have been considered stronger than Academy rosters, and now these orgs and teams will have the chance to prove it. And this is also giving better opportunities for players who may have previously played in Academy or LCS and give them a better shot to get back into that scene, as they previously weren't typically available to play in the Scouting Grounds. Really excited to see how this will unfold and change the North American League of Legends amateur and even professional scene. Allowing these players a better chance to get scouted, to get seen by these teams, and move up into the LCS. We'll have to see how that will play out as it starts in January. Next up, Richard's got us another video. We kind of talked about this last week. We'll go ahead and take a look here further into the Cyberpunk 2077 preload and release. I know as we're recording this right now, there are a lot of streamers and people starting to play Cyberpunk 2077. So let's take a look here at what that preload and release means for everybody.
Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most anticipated games of this year, and by now you should have seen that preloads already went live. Did you miss that? Because CDPR put out this announcement on the 3rd, along with the very important information that, yes, some people will get the chance to play this game early. Now, early is in air quotes here because it is in fact a simultaneous release around the world. But when the game goes live tonight, December 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the people out in Sydney, Australia will have had to suffer waiting until 11 a.m. their time. Besides this, console players unlock the game at midnight local time, so it may be better to have downloaded it on your shiny new PS5 or Xbox Series X if you live east of London. If you really don't want to wait that long to get your hands on the game. So basically, as soon as this stream is over, it's really only just another half an hour or so until you get the chance to play the trashiest, flashiest, hypest game of 2020. Neat. Now, I know I'm not going to get a wink of sleep as I grind through the 4 to 6 hour prologue, which is completely different for each life path you choose as a nomad, ex-corpo, or street kid. Ultimately, the paths will coalesce into something a little more homogeneous down the road, but your in-game choices, as well as your life path, will dictate apparently up to 7 different ending states for the world. And while CDPR is pretty tight-lipped on just how they'll keep you coming back after the likely 150-hour story, they have confirmed there is post-campaign content at the ready. No idea if this is already in the game or if this is coming in a future patch. But do keep in mind, the Day 1 patch is going to be available at launch. And hey, if 2020 is going to be as bad as it is, maybe a glimpse of the far future will be much, much better. And if the game is bad, I'll still probably end up 100%ing it all. For people like me and a decent subset of the internet, the concept, the idea of Cyberpunk goes far past just this game in itself. Similar to the steampunk ideologies, we admire, desire, crave the ability to change, augment, and improve our bodies using the cyberware available to us. And while we're currently waiting for the day that I'm able to go and replace my arms with something a little more metallic, this really will have to do. Hopefully the game gives you a good amount of options and doesn't exactly drip feed these to you the entire time. However, it being an RPG, I could see myself waiting and probably salivating at the chance to get better and better and better gear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go get pumped and ready myself for getting a cyber eye implant like I've always dreamed of. Wake up, samurai. We've got a city to burn.
Thank you again, Richard, for that look into the Cyberpunk 2077 preload and release, and the countdown of when you will be able to download the game yourself. If you're not lucky enough to be a high tier streamer who maybe got an early key there from CD Projekt Red, as a lot of streamers have, and I know a lot of people are super excited for this game and ready to dive in. I mean, 4 to 6 hours in the prologue alone and the building of the world is massive. That's the size of a lot of other games in and of itself. So the fact that you're going to be able to do that multiple times with multiple different variations means that there really are a lot of replayability factors in this game, and being able to jump back and forth and do a lot of different things. So a lot of great things to look forward to here from Cyberpunk 2077. Thanks again, Richard, for that. And now we want to see what you can bring to the table. We're putting out a call to action for all of our viewers to show us what kind of talent, what kind of action you can bring to the table, regardless of the game, whether it be League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Call of Duty, Smite, you name it. You got a big action play. We want to see it. Send it on over to info@nesthq.online. Send that clip in with your information, your social media information as well. We will make sure to share it here on Gaming Nest News and show it with the world. And we want to see what you can bring to the table. Next up, we've got our Commissioner David, once again, bringing us some more information on the stock market and how things have changed since we last tuned in. So David, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much for that, Joker. Just want to do a quick rundown. We got a few things to go through right now. The overall market, let's just start off with that, has been actually down for the SPX, down about 0.8%, actually 0.79 to be exact. Took a bit of a hit today just because of the stimulus uncertainty, which actually did start dragging down a lot of the gaming stocks. But let's just go right in the gaming stocks themselves. Highest performer on my personal watch list was EA Games, which only went up about 0.77% today. It has been on a steady increase. There are some rumors about Battlefield 6 that's coming out, and as well Madden, NFL 21, and FIFA 21 recently just came out for the next-gen console. So it's been on a bit of a nice increase, surprisingly, and definitely something to keep an eye out for if they do a major announcement on Battlefield 6. A lot of anticipation for that, but a lot of people a little bit curious if it's going to be worth it. Moving on to Take-Two Interactive, another one that's up positive, but only by 0.04%. Not too much news out of them just as of yet. I think I'm going to be waiting for them to release their sales numbers and when they do their quarterly. Overall, the CEO actually estimates that there's gonna be photorealistic games in 10 years. Not particularly related to Take-Two Interactive, but he estimates that photorealistic games will be here in 10 years. So that'll definitely be interesting to see, especially if you are invested in Oculus and everything like that, because that might be a whole new level of immersion overall. Moving on to Activision Blizzard. Didn't do too well today, down minus 1.26%. They definitely couldn't crack past that $90 mark. It looks like they was trying to go to there. It was at 83 at one point, but definitely didn't make it. Started cracking down a little bit more. Bit interesting news from them. A lot of people estimating that they might be a little bit undervalued. World of Warcraft Shadowland was actually sold on November 23rd, and the amount of units that were sold were 3.7 million units so far. So one of the big performing games, of course, World of Warcraft being one of the top games that have been around for years. It feels almost like centuries. But with that, AMD might try to steadily climb back up again. I definitely want to watch it when it reaches a little bit past $85 mark there. Moving on to Intel. Some big news in regards to Intel. They're down 1.22%. U.S. lawmakers are actually going to be questioning them and another company, which I'll mention soon, about their sale of tech to China in use of for oppression tactics, basically. So they are in a little bit of trouble for that. They are definitely down from their highs of about 52.63 at their highest point. They are down to 50. I'm hoping that they can hold that $50 mark. If they don't, I expect them to decrease a little bit more, especially with the competition with AMD. AMD's hot on their heels with their new processors and everything like that. So Intel is being attacked from quite a few different sides, from the PR perspective and from the product perspective. Moving on to Logitech. They actually recently launched a new door cam. I know it's not really related to gaming. That was the news for today, though. It's designed exclusively for the Apple HomeKit. Market didn't seem to particularly care about that right now. It's down about 1.68%. It wasn't able to hold that $50 mark. Or sorry, not that $50 mark, the $90 mark. We're just going to be seeing if that one might increase or not. However, it has been a bit of a bouncy stock this week and last. Moving on to NVIDIA. Also, this is a secondary company that is embroiled in this Chinese tech scandal here. Again, their technology might have been used for oppression tactics in China. That's not confirmed. It's a bit of something that's on the slate for the U.S. lawmakers, and I think that that's actually hitting their stock price a little bit hard here, minus 3.14%. Also, in competition with AMD, of course. So AMD releasing their new graphics cards at better price points, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone knows about all this sort of stuff that's going on. But overall, NVIDIA, I don't know if it's actually going to be able to hold as a $500 stock anymore. Not with how much competition it's going to be facing off against, especially with AMD being just not considered just that alternative choice, but maybe the default choice. So AMD, definitely one that I'm going to be very cautious about watching. See if it holds up $500. If it doesn't, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Speaking of their competition, AMD, it did fail to hold over the $90 as of today. Bit of a disappointment there. It absolutely completely cracked downwards, and doesn't mean it's not going to go back up there. I personally think that it's probably going to be one of the new front runners, a good long-term one in regards to what its products are being sold and everything like that, with the new CPUs that are coming out, and most importantly, a lot of excitement over Radeon RX 6900 XT. A lot of anticipation for that, of course. One of those other ones that are going to be sold out and scalped probably for $1 million. But again, AMD's coming out with some pretty decent products, and their specs have been pretty interesting so far. So I'm going to be watching AMD if it can get back over that $90 mark, and then if it hits 95, we might be able to see this become a $100 stock, which will be very exciting stuff. We also have here Turtle Beach here, which does something it seemingly always does for the past 6 months at least. Usually hits around that $20 mark and then cracks down. We're going to see maybe it hit down to $17. It seems to always just hit 20, then go down to 17, 20, then 17. I don't know. It's just a lot of resistance up at that $20 mark. However, that's not to say it's a bad investment. Overall, if you look at their 1 year mark, I think they're over 150%. However, with the COVID pandemic, everything like that, a lot of people buying products, a lot of people buying peripherals for their Xbox and their consoles, PCs, everything like that, and with more people working at home, might be an interesting thing to watch on earnings. However, earnings, I'm going to be very cautious. I have tried it during earnings, and even on the best news, it still goes down. So definitely be cautious with that one. And last but not least, I just want to mention Corsair. Corsair Gaming took another little bit of a hit here, 4.3% in the negative, down from its absolute highs of, what was the highs? Basically $42 around there, where it was really peaked up a long time ago there. Feels like forever. However, a lot of speculation with this one, primarily because nobody really knows its actual valuation. People are still trying to find out, what is it actually worth? What are they actually offering? Are their products, really worth going over $40? $36 would have been my entry point. I'm very interested to watch this one. I'm going to be watching this one for the rest of the week. Again, my entry that I originally went into was $36. I got out at about 40 or something around there. And basically, I'm just going to be watching this one to see if it's going to climb back up again, because Corsair, it's not just the keyboards, it's not just the peripherals. They have a lot of internal computer components as well that are excellent quality, and something that I'm going to advocate for, if anything, because I do use quite a bit of their products. So very interesting. Again, it is a very young stock. It only just released, I believe, in the last few months, so it's still just trying to get its bearings. But this one might surprise us. I think this one might move the same way AMD does, basically up and away. Other than that, these are the stocks that I've been watching as of recently, and I'm going to throw it right back to you, Joker.
Thanks again, Kamish, for that look inside the stock market. Hopefully, we can use some of the tips and tricks and names that you showed us and help us fulfill our portfolios and maybe look towards better things here for the future. Thanks once again, Kamish, for that info. That's about all the time we have here for Gaming Nest News, but once again, we're looking for more contributors. If you want to be featured on our show and be featured to the world, please email us at info@nesthq.online. We'll make sure to communicate with you and see what you can bring to the table, and we'll make sure to help you out and maybe put you on our show. Keep an eye out on the Nest social network sites for our upcoming tournaments, our Twitters, the Twitter, the Facebook as well. We'll make sure to bring you all of that information. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be here weekly, bringing you the gaming news that you want to know as you move into the next few weeks of your life. So thanks again for tuning in to Gaming Nest News. My name is Joker. We'll see you next week.